Kim Broemer, lovely to see you again, my friend.
Great to see you too.
I think
And
we're up to episode number 727,412. I mean, we've known each other for how long now?
oh, it's got to be more than 25 years, I think.
At least. And we've had good fortune of working together both here in Australia and abroad and in many different countries, actually. But there are some basic fundamentals that I've noticed when I work with you, and I've noticed that you've practiced in many businesses that you've had. And the reality is, we're going to have a little bit of fun in this episode. We're going to discuss, the seven C's in business. So just come with me on this, and I'm going to pick your brain on some insights and some thoughts, please. And maybe you can sprinkle a little bit of philosophy on us. And the first C that I want to talk about here, when we talk about business, whether you're self-employed or you're actually running a corporation yourself, is consistency. I mean, consistency for me is basically everything.
Oh, look, I think consistency is actually the magic word. I think I remember Jim Rohn said it's an apple a day, it's not seven on Saturday. It needs to be done little things every day. And that's what actually builds in anything, the compound effect of little things happening every day. And
Yeah.
but as far as business is concerned, the meaning means just showing up with the same level of quality, service, energy daily, and that's what builds trust. The foundation of success. But in practice, I mean, what do we do?
In practice, look, at the end of the day, the reality is, when you show up and you're consistent, it builds loyalty. It strengthens your reputation amongst the people that you know, and I think it also ensures, kind of like long-term stability. If you're consistently doing something over and over again, and there's many books written on this. The repetition is the mother of skill, is a great line that we've learned. And also 10,000 hours. If you're really going to start something, in Outliers, you read about, the repetition of doing something simple over and over and over again, where it becomes practice. And we often see this in sport as well. When people are making that basketball shot, oh, great shot. Yeah, but they've done it 1,000 times before because they're consistent with their practice. They're consistent with their training. It's really important. Um, Another C, Kim, for me is, I think, being considerate in business. Putting people first is really important. Yeah.
Look, yeah. Look, you really got to understand the needs, feelings, and perspective. But to put things in practice, you got to listen actively, respond with empathy, just understand what the other person is going through, design experiences that add value, not just profit, and support your team's well-being and growth. And
Yeah.
and why that matters is it creates emotional connection and lifelong advocates.
Yeah, I think being considered in business, is really important. And to me, it is one of the important C's. So we've covered consistency, we've covered being considerate. What about being committed? I mean, staying on point. Give me some philosophies behind just being committed in business.
Well, it's got to be unwavering dedication to your mission, your vision, your goals. And it's also got to be in line with your values, which is really, really important. And you just got to stay focused, even when results take time. You got to demonstrate integrity in decision making and invest in continuous improvement.
Yeah. And why does
I
that actually
think
matter though? Why does it really matter to be committed though?
well, it inspires confidence and builds, resilience. Look, it also people look at you and then they go, well, no, hang on a second, he's committed. I'm going to go that way because of your commitment.
Yeah, I think when you're committed to something, you certainly are attractive because people like hanging around strong feeling committed people. Um, in business also, I think it is important to be calculating. I mean, you got to be calculated with a number of the things that you decide to do in terms of your actions and your plans. And, give me some feedback on being calculated in business as another C.
Well, calculated. Look, it means taking smart, researched, and strategic actions. Based on decisions on data and risk analysis. I mean, you've got to work out, is this going to work? But for me, I'm always moving forward. Not waiting for that perfect, perfect plan. Just move forward. And but plan financially, sound moves that align with your goals, measure and adjust performance regularly. You've got to look at, maybe it's going to, you sometimes when these roadblocks and obstacles come, this is a position where you can, just jump into another area that will help you achieve the things that you want to achieve.
Look, there's no doubt you have to be you have to be calculated in business, in my opinion. The reality is you don't want to make wrong decisions. You don't want to burn money. You don't want to, invest time, energy, and effort into something where you can't see you're going to make measurable progress. So, yes, I'm all for gung ho, let's go, let's go, let's go. But it's got to be, when I say calculated, it's also, educated. It's got to be in an educated manner as well. Kim, communication is everything. I think that's really as important as consistency. I mean, if you can't say it well, you can't inspire people. You're not communicating to your organization or what your vision is. It's pointless.
Yeah.
Communication is everything.
Yeah, you're going to have clear expectations with your team and your clients. You're going to listen more than you speak. Use empowering and motivational language. And the reason why that matters is it builds teamwork, it builds productivity and credibility.
Yeah. Communication. I think Jim Rohn used to say, learn to say it well. Words really do matter. Say it well, because I think when it comes to communication also, Kim, it's about, how you feel about what you say as well. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be the best speaker, but if you've got really strong feelings about what you're saying, you're going to communicate through your body language, through your actions, yeah, how you react in certain situations can be communicating a message to your organization as well. Community, connecting to people in your environment. I think that's an important C, having a good community around you.
Yeah, look, culture is real important. Let's, create a culture of belonging, support local initiatives and give feedback. Build your customer networks that that feel like tribes. I'm not, one for creating culture by retreats and free lunches. It really comes back to maybe recruiting the right people for your community or for your culture
Yeah.
of your community. Because I remember there was and I think it was one of the Ritz Carlton hotels that was asked. The management was asked, "How come all your staff is really happy and really they're enthusiastic and happy and to serve, and how do you train that?" And the management looked at them and went, "Oh, I don't understand what you mean. We don't train that. We actually we recruit happy people that are wanting to serve." So it really comes back to making sure that you're recruiting the right people for your culture in your community.
Yeah. And I think there's another message there that if you don't have the right people, filter them out because, you get one bad egg and wow, it can really create a smell and
Yeah.
disharmony. And you don't want that as well. I think, any great enterprise that we've seen work, it's when people are dynamically working together, focused on their job at hand, they're doing it with passion, and the community knows exactly where they're going to go, which is really part of the culture. Kim, this is a really important one because there is a million ways to make money on planet Earth, but I think it's best to be compliant. You don't want to do something where uh, the reality is, you've made all this money and now you're looking behind your back every 5 minutes, or you've done the wrong thing along the way. So being compliant, I think, is a really important C.
Yeah, and it's just operating within the legal, ethical, and professional standards. Ask for the guidelines. Make sure that your regulations and guidelines are looked at.
Stay within the guidelines of what you can and can't do, and don't lose credibility along the way. I think that's really, really important. So, Kim, we've covered a few things: consistency, being considerate, being committed, calculated, communication, community, and compliant. Um, the reality is, when we talk about compliant again, I just want to touch on this for a minute because I think there's a great set of words that says, is it fair for all concerned? The reality is, I don't want to win if you don't win. If I win and you win, then we win, and then we may do things in the future together because everyone's winning. And I've seen in business, and maybe you've had more different businesses than me, that you might have a partner that just does the wrong thing by you, or you're signing something and someone promises the world and delivers an atlas, and then all of a sudden everything's not the way it should be. So choosing the right business partners and having credibility with people, for me, is integral to having long lasting lifelong relationships, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you out there, if you found some of this interesting, make sure that you subscribe. Let us know that you want to be involved in our newsletter that we're sending out, and share this maybe with some of the people that you're associated with, that you feel that you'd like to be like-minded with some of the things that we talk about on this podcast.
Thank you once again, Kim.
Okay, bye for now.